Hey, good morning. My name is Bob Jablonsky. I'm an enrolled agent. My firm's Bob Jablonsky and Associates. We're located in Richardson, Texas, and we provide tax preparation and planning services. In addition, we specialize in representing taxpayers before the Internal Revenue Service when they are audited and or have collection issues. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what if you're audited and don't have a mileage log. So this is for people who are typically salespeople, entrepreneurs. They drive their vehicle, they have an auto deduction, and don't have a mileage log. So kind of just an overview of that is that the IRS requires a written mileage log as support for auto deductions. So overall, you're required to have a written mileage log before you file your tax return. And that would include whether you take the mileage rate or whether you actually use actual expenses. While it's preferable that it's kept live, contemporaneous, it's not a requirement. So you can complete your mileage logs after the fact. And even though the IRS mandates that a written log is kept, they seem to acknowledge that it is that many taxpayers don't keep them. They've issued some guidance recently, and in it they addressed how or what is required of a taxpayer when they're reconstructing a mileage log. So they seem to be quite aware that it often doesn't exist. An important point to remember here is that if you don't have a written support, you go into an audit, you don't have written support, you don't get a deduction. That's just a requirement. You need to have written support if you go into an audit. So what is adequate support? First of all, you must be able to identify the mileage at the beginning of the year and the end of the year for the vehicle, the business mileage versus mileage. That's what goes on to your tax return. So you need to be able to come up with that at a minimum. You also have to have a business mileage log that's written and that's considered to be adequate. An ideal mileage log will show, okay, here's the date of every business trip, here's the miles driven, here's the business purpose, here's who I was meeting with, here's the starting and stopping odometer reading, and the total miles for each trip. So, an ideal type of log would show each trip. It would show that, here's the total miles or total dollars deduction for each trip. And then it would add them all up and come to a cumulative total that would roll to the tax return. So what happens if you're audited and now you get to a point and you actually don't have a mileage log? What if you need to reconstruct it? Well, remember some of the things we talked about. You need the beginning of the ending year mileage, the ending of the year mileage, and you need a mileage log. One of the things, for the beginning and ending mileage, what if you don't know what it actually was? So you can try pulling your service records for those periods of time. Did you get any work done near the beginning of the year or near the end of the year? What was the mileage at the time that work was done? If you don't have your records, you can try pulling a Carfax. And that can help by letting you know the mileage around year end for either inspections or maintenance work. It's all kind of tracked. A lot of it that is tracked within Carfax. So most likely, no matter which direction you go here, you're not going to get something on January 1st and then December 31st. But what the hope is that you can get something, let's say within a month or two of year end, or whatever date that you can identify that's closest to January 1st and December 31st, using the Carfax mileage or your service date mileage, you can get an idea of what is your annual mileage. And then you can kind of use, mathematics to back into where you should have been, approximately where you've been on January 1st and 31st. It's not ideal, but it would be acceptable. For the mileage log, well, as far as business mileage, use your business calendar for appointments. Look at bills that you have. When did you travel? Where did you incur meals and entertainment expenses? Things along those lines. Things that can jog your memory and help you create it. Do you have any recurring appointments? For instance, if you are a consultant and you go somewhere once a week or twice a month, and you take this same trip, well, then you can basically substantiate that mileage for, if you go twice a week for 52 weeks, there's 104 trips times X number of miles, and you can substantiate those. Your goal is to create a mileage log that you can walk before the IRS and substantiate. And it's, and you can get the largest deduction possible in an ethical way. When you go to an audit, you want to be able to bring all that documentation to support how you got to it. The more you have in general, the better when it comes to an audit. So you don't want to keep doing this, right? So what are some of the things you can do moving forward? Well, you consider keeping your log daily or weekly. Today, they have a lot of apps out there that can help with that. Some of them include Mile IQ, Trip Log, and Mileage Expense Log. Trip Log is an approved Intuit app, and works with QBO. So if you're a QBO user, it's something that's approved and can work within Intuit. Most of these have a small price and the ability to really save you headaches in the long run, a lot of time, a lot of stress if you're audited. Can be well worth the amount of money that you would spend. Well, I hope you're not going through an audit and being required to recreate an audit mileage log. But if you are, I hope this was helpful. If you need any help with IRS issues, including audit examinations, please give us a call. My name is Bob Jablonsky. We're located in Richardson, Texas. Phone number is 972-821-1991, and email is bob@jablonsky&associates.com. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.